I'm Kelsey Zeiser. I'm a senior editor at Light Reading, and we're here at the big 5G event in Austin, where it is quite hot. And I'm here with Jim Brizomitsis with 5G Open Lab. How'd I do on your last name?
Did fantastic,
okay.
Kelsey.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for joining me.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at the lab.
Sure. So the 5G Open Innovation Lab is an open innovation program. We've had 71 teams across 5 different batches come through the program. We have 14 corporate partners, all really to build the ecosystem around 5G and edge computing. The enterprise, we believe, is going to be a big benefactor of where connectivity and edge computing is going. The teams that we select are really focused on the enterprise. The partners we work with all bring broad platform capabilities to really explore the true potential, what I say with 5G, that has a component in connectivity, but there's a big part of it that is outside of connectivity as well on the edge. And so that's what the lab's about. Formerly, I was part of Microsoft for almost 14 years and helped them build their startup ecosystem and took those same sort of attributes and built out the lab.
Okay, and it sounds like you're working with a really wide variety of partners, from the big vendors to some telcos and then also startups. How do you work with so many different groups and bring them together with a common goal of, I suppose, digital transformation for the enterprise?
Yeah, so that's a great question. The enterprises annually spend about $3.4 trillion on IT services. And when you juxtapose that to how much revenue all of the carriers generate in a year, about 1.2 trillion, you can see there's a ton of upside. Mm-hmm. In addition to that, enterprises, in many regards, because of COVID-19, have really been doubling their investments in digital transformation and trying to automate certain functions of their supply chain or manufacturing processes, or just turn to technology more. So the startups we work with are really addressing those bigger problems. Connectivity has a role in that, so does computing on the edge and IoT and other big technology waves. Our partners are either providing the capabilities, or in the case of a T-Mobile, are looking for those solution areas as they broaden out their play in the enterprise as well. We don't drive any sort of agendas, right? The startups who come in are really setting their own agenda based on the goals that they have, and our partners have the ability to decide to collaborate with those teams on those agendas as well. So we very much keep it open by design, and kind of bring that community together and let the right things happen. As a result, we've seen some really great collaborations. Just yesterday, our colleagues at Intel, alongside one of our startups called Blue White Robotics, published a briefing on a CBRS network that they built out in California to help growers there with connectivity. In 3 days, they had a CBRS network up, and now we have autonomous tractors from Blue White Robotics that are out doing the work in the farm. So that's what we've helped to enable over time. But the bigger opportunity, Kelsey, is to show this industry that there is so much more opportunity to enter that pipe in connectivity, that really the software ecosystem is the group that catalyzes it. And the software ecosystem is the same ecosystem that has built public cloud to what we see as public cloud or mobile devices and the whole app ecosystem.
Right. And you mentioned smart farming. Are there some other use cases that you're working on with your partners or helping to facilitate that you're excited about? There's
a range of them. We have teams that are really exploring the use of augmented reality in healthcare. For surgical reasons. Proximity is a team that's really doing that. We have a number of teams that are bringing new mmWave or private enterprise networking capabilities to the table, and that unlocks a whole new set of use cases. Farming is another area that we've done on. Manufacturing is a fantastic area that we've been playing with. But what's really unique is we have a number of startups that are of mixed stages, right? They're pre-seed to Series C level teams that are seeing in their own right, their own traction, and they're bringing a lot of those use cases forward, and our partners can collaborate directly on that. And vice versa, as those collaborations prove successful, our partners are bringing more and more problems that they're seeing from their enterprise customers as well. And so it's really worked out quite well. That said, all of the use cases that we see, there's a connectivity component to it, but ultimately it's the application or the big issue that's being resolved, that where the lion's share of those dollars are going to from enterprise budgets. And so from my standpoint, I look at those use cases as not just a proof point that there's this massive opportunity in 5G and beyond connectivity, but for the CSP community to see, wow, there's a fairly wide share of wallet here that is really tremendously beneficial to kind of their long-term aspirations. And we wanted to expose that as part of the lab.
Yeah. And so what are some of the goals for the lab over perhaps the next year or two? Is it growing new partnerships, bringing in new startups, looking at new use cases? What are your thoughts there?
That's a great question. So we have sort of 3 areas that we're looking at in terms of our growth. One is on the partner path. We continue to bring on more partners. We'll be announcing some new partners that have joined the lab in September of this year as we launch batch 6. The second is continue growing our batches. The third area is we're actually in the process potentially of expanding the lab program to have a second satellite program here in the United States, and then possibly exploring 2 expansions internationally as well. So we're focusing on those. And each of those expansions brings with it a whole new range of partnerships, use case areas worth exploring that, again, 5G and Edge will play a role in, but they're very industry aligned. So we're pretty excited about the potential of expanding globally. Later this year we'll know more about that, and then the potential of expanding our program here in the United States as well.
Yeah, sounds like you're going to be super busy.
Yeah, we're busy today.
Yeah.
Our
good
teams,
thing to be though.
Yeah, we've had really good success. We're very fortunate to have the partners that we have and the 71 teams. Those teams have raised collectively north of $1 billion in 2.5 years of a program.
Yeah.
So we're really proud of the ecosystem building that we have done and how that has really put a spotlight on these various opportunities. The biggest part of this equation for me, Kelsey, is that as a CSP, it's a pretty big jump from where you are today in your business to maybe where you want to be in the future, and more or less how you integrate and interact with the software ecosystem. We try to narrow that jump.
Okay.
And that's what we're really focused on. So exposing CSPs to the broad software ecosystem, exposing them to the technology leaders like an Intel or a Microsoft or Ericsson or Nokia. Those folks are out aggressively, supporting and pursuing the enterprise opportunity, really helps to kind of narrow and frame for the CSPs kind of where this opportunity is going and the right moves that they can make to potentially explore playing a bigger role in that area.
Yeah, so it sounds like the lab's a bit of kind of the glue for all these different partnerships.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's been a fun ride. We've really built it, and now I think for the next couple of years you're going to see some really fun things grow from that.
Yeah, well, looking forward to keeping an eye on that and hopefully get an update from you again in the near future.
Absolutely, I'd love that. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Jim.
Of course, thanks for having me.